Eric Mwadit.com. Let's take a look at an Indian stock here that has seen prices come off the highs here at about 1900, currently trading, let's call it about 450. So that's a huge drop over a period of about, let's call it under 2 years. So what has happened in this stock chart? Couple of observations. And what we see here is pretty much the opposite of what we look for when we are looking for momentum stocks. Here the momentum was breaking to fresh lows. For example, take a look at this break here in the RSI on the weekly. So all data, on the monthly actually. So all data monthly, this break to all-time lows on the RSI led to this drop. Stock has never been back to those levels. There was another break here. This break also happened to be at about the RSI 50, a move to fresh lows during this period. And since then, what we see here is the stock has been failing every time it tries to move above the 50 RSI level. So for example, ever since the break here, if we draw a line right there, which this line also happens to correspond with the RSI 50, you can see rejection at the red line, the previous break, and also rejection at RSI 50 with uniform activity for the highs this month here, uniform activity rejection here for these highs, and again uniform activity rejection here for the highs here. So really the downdraft in the stock is consistent with what we observe with stocks that are pulling back and stocks that are finding it difficult to move above the 50 RSI level. Now if you take a look at the weekly all data, we can see even coming off the highs, there is here prices making an improvement on a weekly basis, but the RSI did not. Also consider that there was uniform activity rejection when the RSI tried to move above 69.1. So that's another red flag during this period here. One thing just to be consistent here is take a look at how the stock has been behaving ever since it broke below the RSI 50, even on the weekly. So you can see that since this break here, which corresponds with this time period, every subsequent attempt to move above the 50 level has failed, giving us short-term highs. All of this have been uniform activity rejection. Uniform activity rejection here above 50 and back below it with uniform activity for those highs. Uniform activity rejection here for the highs here. Uniform activity rejection here for the highs here. And even this is uniform activity above 50 and back below it for the recent highs here at about 900. One thing I failed to point out on the monthly is while the RSI kept making fresh lows, as we can see, giving us major sell signals, and even recently here, all this led to fresh RSI lows. One thing I failed to point out is the MACDs were also making fresh lows. So we're talking about the time period during this break. So let's take a look at what the MACDs were doing, these main breaks here. So the RSI moved to all-time lows, so did the MACD. And then here also we moved below 50 and the MACD also moved to fresh all-time lows. So the MACDs are also consistent with instruments that do plunge over time, especially when they are making fresh lows in correspondence with the RSI. So those are some of the things we can take away from this chart. Again, another example of things we need to be on the lookout for whenever a stock is beginning to slide. Eric Mwadit.com. As always, good luck, peace and blessings. I am out. I am out, but I'm still here. Anyway, see you guys. Mwah.